Yankee fans have this problem of overvaluing prospects and not wanting to give up any in a trade. We'll talk about why that's a problem right after this. What's going on, guys? I'm Matt O'Leary, back with another video. And before we get started talking about the Yankees and their problems, we're going to first mention that you can please follow me on Twitter at Matt O'Leary NY, on Instagram and Facebook as well at Matt O'Leary NY. And you could also visit my website, mattolearyny.com, where you can see all my content cultivated right there. And also, if you're a Yankees fan, you could also do this. You could check out the t-shirts that I'm selling now. We're selling merch, slinging merch around. Right now we only have one shirt, so I'll show it to you right now, and then I'll link it down below. If you are interested in it, you can purchase it there. So the New York Yankees and their fans, more specifically the fans, don't want to give up any prospects, but they do want a top-of-the-line pitcher. That's not how this works, all right? And I obviously listen to sports radio a lot, and if you're from New York, you probably do as well, and you probably hear all the ridiculous kind of trade proposals fans call up with in order to land guys like Jacob deGrom. The Mets and Yankees rarely ever trade, but the Yankees could use a starting pitcher. The Mets could use prospects, so it seems like it can work. And as a Mets fan, I'm okay with trading Jacob deGrom for the right package. I think if you're the Mets, you either have to extend him right now or trade him. You don't want to play this game for a couple more years and then lose him for nothing. You either want to lock him up long term now, or you want to trade him and get something back. You don't want to lose him for nothing. So if the Yankees came with a good offer, I would definitely take a long, hard look in the mirror about it, because their prospect pool is extremely deep, and they could actually afford to give up some of their top-of-the-line pitchers and position player prospects because they are that deep. But Yankee fans don't want to, and it doesn't make any sense. Right now, their window of opportunity just opened. It opened earlier than many actually expected it to. And you have to take advantage of that. And a guy like Jacob deGrom, he gets you a playoff run in 2018, 19, and 20, because he's under contract for 2 more years after this year. So it is not just a rental. So when I hear trade proposals that include Brandon Drury, Greg Bird, Ronald Torreyes, Domingo Germán, or Clint Frazier, I think that's utterly ridiculous and insulting, because there's no way you can land a top-of-the-line pitcher who has 3 playoff runs in him for something as simple and small as that. Yeah, you're still giving up 4 prospects, but they're not top of the line. Greg Bird is injury prone. Ronald Torreyes is a utility player at best. Domingo Germán stinks. Clint Frazier is a nice piece, but he shouldn't be the biggest piece. And Brandon Drury isn't even, if he's not good enough to play on the Yankees right now, why should we take him for a top of the line, our best player? Realistically, deGrom is the Mets' best player. He's probably the best pitcher in the National League, if not of all of baseball right now. And you're going to take him for a subpar offer? That doesn't make any sense at all. This is what a package should look like if you want to make the move. But I've heard so many Yankee fans say, no, I don't want any part of this. It should either start with Gleyber Torres or Miguel Andujar. If one of those 2 guys are not in the deal, it's not happening. I would prefer Torres, but I know a lot of people are saying he's untouchable. Fine, I'll settle for Miguel Andujar. He's hitting 281, 317, 488. That's his slash line right there, with an 805 OPS and 12 home runs with 39 RBIs at the major league level this year. He's a decent player. He's a good player at the major league level. He would fit in right in the middle of that Mets order. Todd Frazier's been hurt. He's been underachieving. That would help the Mets right now in 2018. Second piece of the puzzle has to be Justice Sheffield. He is 4-5 with a 2.86 ERA this year between AA and AAA. He's a lefty. He would be a nice addition to the starting rotation if the Mets want to give up someone like Zach Wheeler in trade too, or as even just a helping to replace Jacob deGrom, so he'd be behind Noah Syndergaard. Then you could throw in Clint Frazier as the third option. He's slashing 311, 389, 574 for a 963 OPS, 10 home runs, 21 RBIs at the AAA level this year. He has performed relatively well in 15 games at the major league level this year, but let's face it, he's blocked. You have Gardner, Judge, Stanton, Hicks. 4 guys right there who all are ahead of him and on the Yankees roster. And don't forget, you also have some other solid outfield prospects as well who can possibly leapfrog Clint Frazier and still be an extremely functioning piece to your future, like Estevan Florial. You can give up Clint Frazier and be just fine. But Yankee fans, they don't. Most of them who I talk to, they want no part of giving him up. They want to hold on to him. But why? Because Gardner's probably coming back next year. He's a very key part to your offense, especially at the top of the order, despite his age. Then you also have Stanton and Judge for the long term. Yeah, Stanton could DH. That's fine. But then Aaron Hicks, the Yankees seem to love Aaron Hicks playing center field. And they could go with him for a long-term option. I could see it happening. And then as the fourth piece, you can throw in like a Domingo Acevedo, who is 2-2 with a 2.84 ERA in Double-A. That's a package that is appropriate. Not a Bird, Torres, Herman, and Frazier, or Drury in the mix. That is not appropriate for a Jacob deGrom, or even a Michael Fulmer, really, for that matter. You're going to have to give up a lot to get a top-of-the-line starter, but it makes sense to, because that's the missing piece that you have. The Yankees' offense is fine. They could roll with this core for the long term and be A-okay. You don't need an Andujar. You don't need a Frazier. You could be fine without him. And you could even sign a Manny Machado in the offseason, too. You have that kind of money to throw around. You're the New York Yankees, for crying out loud. They'll be just fine. Their window of opportunity is just opening right now. And even if you lose Andujar, Sheffield, Frazier, and Acevedo, you are still going to be a dominant force for the next probably 5 to 7 years, if not longer. Why Yankee fans love these prospects so much where they won't even give any up is unbelievable to me. Especially when you have the opportunity to land a top-line starter, which is the one thing you need. Dominant bullpen, great lineup, is going to break all kinds of records for home runs this year. They're on pace to win over 100 games. And you're also trailing the Red Sox. You can't continue to throw Domingo Germán out there every 5 days and expect him to give you a major league performance or something of any value, especially when you're trying to chase right now. Because let's think about it. You head into a playoff series. You have 4 pitchers. Who are you going with right now? You have Severino, obviously you'll go with. Sabathia probably after that. And yeah, CC Sabathia has been pretty solid, but he's older. He's getting up there in age. Relying on him as your second option, not ideal. Then after that, are you going to go with Sonny Gray? No, you want no part of Sonny Gray. So you have Tanaka, who is very inconsistent, but is relatively good in the playoffs we saw last year. So I'm only confident in Severino, Tanaka more so than Sabathia just because of age, and I guess Sabathia 3. So you need one more guy. If you add a Jacob deGrom to that mix, then you can go Sevy game 1, deGrom game 2, in game 3, Tanaka, game 4, CC. That's a lot better, especially when you have to go up against the Red Sox if you do win that wild card game, or even if it's the Red Sox who end up in the wild card game and they'll have to play you in the ALDS. Because let's face it, Chris Sale has not been good in the playoffs. David Price has not been good in the playoffs. You're going to rely on Drew Pomeranz or Rick Porcello? That would give the Yankees the advantage. That would make them the favorites out of the American League. If you want to win a World Series, which is the ultimate goal, you have to do a trade like this. And you can't give up half price for someone like Jacob deGrom. If you agree with me, comment below. If you disagree with me, you could also comment below and try to convince me. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary. Please follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Visit the website, mattolearyny.com, and hopefully we'll talk to you next time.